Hi there and welcome to my channel. I was just going to show you quickly how to make this clothespin sunflower wreath. This right here is one of those really cheap doormats that you can get at the Dollar Tree that I've already cut. So the way I cut this is I flipped it over to the back and I laid the wreath on top of the back of it, and then I used a chalk pen because it's kind of hard to write on black. So I used a chalk pen. You could probably just use a regular piece of chalk, maybe even a crayon, I'm not sure. But you want to trace it right to the outside of this inner line of the wreath form. You don't really want it too much bigger, and I'm going to show you why in a minute. So if you want to start a little bit bigger, make sure you have it centered and then trim it down again, which is what I did just because I didn't want to cut it too short. You can do that. And then when you're finished, you can flip it back over. It's not perfectly round, and that's okay. And then the wreath form is, this is the curve facing up. So what we want to do is we're going to kind of tack this evenly along with the clothespins. So these I used some gel wood stain, and I'll link everything in the description box below. And also make sure you read the description below, just click read more. And a lot of times if I find that people are asking a lot of questions, I'll update it in the text. So this I just took with gloves on. I used a gel stain and rubbed it on the sides. Let that dry completely. You have to wipe it off really well and then let it dry. And then I painted the yellow with a paintbrush on the insides as well and the tips. So that's how I painted those. It was a little tedious, but I think it took me about maybe like an hour to do all of them. And in the description, I'll let you know how many I use because I need to count these. Okay, so let's tack this. Right here next to one of these bars, we're gonna go, you can see how it has two holes. So we're gonna use this first one. And, okay, one more thing. I remember this from before when I started trying to make this. I want my ribbon to come up here because for some reason with this horizontal line that this mat has, that's the way I want it to hang. So I'm going to turn it like this. And then we'll put it in there and clip it. I'll get another one, come over here. Same thing, you're just on the first string, so it's sitting at an angle like that. And then do one at that little crossbar. And then we'll come over here and finish these last three. You notice I'm kind of flipping around, and that's just so you're not pulling all to one side. It just kind of keeps it a little more tight. And you can go back through, pull them a little tighter, and then just make sure all of your clothespins are up next to one of these bars, like that. Okay, so now you're just going to go in between. I generally try to watch the middle, but I'm going to show you in the end how you can straighten that up to make it a little bit more round. So while I'm pinning these, I'll just say that some people spray paint their clothespins. I did not want to go outside in the cold today because it was pretty cold and windy, and you don't want to spray paint inside. So I kind of liked this look. I felt like it looked more like a natural petal. And I did not buy brown paint, so that's kind of how I found that out. So sometimes things happen by accident, but you can use brown paint if that's what you prefer. Okay, so you can see I was making a mistake there, but I'm just doing this very first ring only. I'm not catching any of the other ones. And I won't make you watch all of these, but, or maybe I'll at least fast forward. But with these standard clothespins, I got pretty lucky. They fit pretty well. All right. Okay, so we'll go ahead and finish these. I'm not the best video maker, so this might jump around just a little bit. I don't like to take the time to edit them as much as some people do. I just enjoy making the crafts, not so much the videos all the time. But I know it makes it easier to learn. Okay, so I'll go ahead and finish up this first ring, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how to attach the second ring. Okay, so I got all these attached, and then, you know, if you want to, you can go along and adjust some of the separations. I wouldn't worry too much about that until the end, because these might move around a little bit as we're doing the second row. So now we have the all yellow. The same way I just hand painted these. Again, you can spray paint if you'd like. So you're not going to attach anything to the second ring. You're going to attach all of them to this third ring. The fourth ring is going to be empty. So when you put these pins on, you're just going to start right at one of these bars, and the tip of it is going to go kind of behind the second ring. So you're only attaching it to the first one, and you're going to go further back pretty much until the spring, kind of as far as you can get it. So it's only clipped to one ring. So that's going to go in and behind, and then just clip it. So it's not actually clipped to this other one. It's just on the first one. And these will move around some until you get these end tighter. So I'll show you the first row. If they're wiggling around too much, just try to hinge them in a little bit tighter. And by the way, when I did the first row, while we took the break, I counted, and the first ones with the brown and the yellow, there were 66. But I'll put that in the notes so you don't have to remember. I have not counted the yellow ones yet. So this happens sometimes too, where you have to pull them as tight as possible to get that last one in. Sometimes you really got to work it in there. There. And that was why I was saying I don't adjust these quite yet. Okay, so we got the first one, and you just keep going all the way around. So painting the clothespins is definitely the hardest part. The rest goes pretty quickly. I did use the wire wreath frame. I found this one at Dollar Tree. I realize not everyone has Dollar Tree. In a second here I'll look. I believe it's a 14-inch wreath, and it has 4 wire rings. I have seen wreaths sometimes with 3, and I've never tried them, so I would not be able to comment on if those work. And also, if you look at the Dollar Tree tags, sometimes I find them on Amazon. Of course, they're not going to be the same price as Dollar Tree, but I think people literally buy them from there and resell them on Amazon. So if I can find one, I'll link it there too, because I realize not everybody has Dollar Tree. Okay, you guys can fast forward if you want to. I'm trying to think of any more pointers to tell you as we go. Oh, I did try standard felt sheets for the center, and they were too small. But I would imagine you could probably cut, like if you bought fabric by the yard and got felt, or sometimes I've seen, you know, thicker felt by the yard. I'm not sure if it'd be too flimsy, but I feel like if you play with it enough, you could probably get it on there. Maybe if you use hot glue and really got it tight before you clip to the frame, that might work as well. I just haven't tried it. Let me know in the comments if you try that. I know it works, because our readers will or my viewers will read the comments too, and it's nice to see what other people have tried. Also, if you are looking at this video, there's a little subscribe button on the bottom. I would love it if you subscribed. So in the end, I'm going to tie a ribbon to this. You don't have to. You can hang it directly from this outer ring. And you could attach a bow or put some flowers in the corner. It would be really pretty. I'm going to keep mine really simple. So with the ribbon, because I have this fabric, I was going to use a burlap ribbon. And I noticed when I was cutting it that a ton of the burlap lint was coming off. So if you're going to use a burlap look, I would just make sure you get that ribbon that looks like burlap, but it's not, because I think it would get all over this. So that's one pointer. So that's why I switched to the buffalo check. Okay, I hope you don't mind watching this. Again, you can grab the little bar and fast forward if you don't want to. I'm almost done though. I do have a blog at hootcheck.com. You can check out more crafts there. I have other sunflower wreath on there that I made with some faux sunflowers. I'll have to do a video on that one. Okay, we're almost done. So there's one more thing I wanted to show you that I mentioned in the on my blog that you might need a hot glue gun. And it's because occasionally you get a row for some reason or another that just won't stay up, and they'll tend to flop. So I usually try to figure out what that section is and put it towards the bottom so I don't have to worry about it. But if you have too many sections that are doing that, or maybe you don't have the Dollar Tree and you couldn't find the same wreath form, you can glue them to the bottom right there. It's just going to take a little longer, a little more tedious, but you can do that. Okay. Okay, so let's see if we have, so you can kind of tip it. First I'm going to do some adjusting because some of them are sticking out a little different. And now you can go along and kind of make this as round as possible. They might move a little bit anyways, but it's a little nicer. I'm actually not having a super floppy section. But occasionally you will. You'll tip it and one section will flop. So whichever side flops, like this side is a little bit. So I'm going to make that the bottom. And then again, I have that section up here so that the stripes on here, that may not bother you, but for some reason it bothered me when it was sideways. But now you can just take your ribbon. I just use this. I found this at Michael's. But I can link some from Amazon or wherever. This was in their clearance section for Christmas, but it's pretty much an everyday ribbon, so I don't know why it was in Christmas, but okay. So I'm going to zoom out so you can see what I'm doing. So when I did mine, I literally just tied it like a shoe. I didn't need a very long, because I was putting on my shed doors and they're glass. So you just tie it like a normal bow. Like that, and then I just cut the corners at a point like that. And that's it. So in the description, I will go along and count the bottom ones because I know it's a common question. How many did you use? I feel like it's around 150, but in total. So I will do that, and you can read that description box. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask in the comments, and I watch for my comments all the time, and I will reply to them if I have an answer. Sometimes it takes me a couple days, but I will get back to you. Thanks for watching.